Bernie Sanders has made it clear he's going to fight against the TPP. And listen, think about it like this. Think about it like this. What would be worse for Trump to get in and pass the TPP, Hillary Clinton to get in and pass the PPP, and Bernie Sanders just somewhere in the Senate without a movement behind him to fight against the TPP? I mean, people keep mentioning that Richard Nixon was, on the surface, he was conservative, but in terms of what he actually implemented, the Environmental Protection Agency, just different pieces of legislation that were very progressive, right? He only enacted those because he felt the pressure of progressive movements. We have not had a seriously organized and strong progressive movement in a very long time. We've had candidates, we've had elected officials, but not a movement that has been sustained. And the only way we're going to stop something like the TPP is if we do it with the force of a movement of millions of people. And this is what Bernie Sanders is talking about, in my opinion. You don't necessarily have to be a Bernie Sanders supporter to appreciate what we can do with a few million people organized. Let's say that only 1 million people out of this entire movement stay actively engaged and organized and mobilized. That's a force. That's a progressive army right there. Trademark. That's trademark of the Benjamin Dixon Show, progressivearmy.com. But that's a progressive army. And that's how we can get some things done. That's how we fight on all of these issues that are very near and dear to us. That's how we fight. And I guarantee you right now, as we speak, there are thought pieces being written, people tweeting, doing their tweet storm, all pissed off and angry because two groups of people are angry. Hillary Clinton supporters because Bernie Sanders didn't fold and didn't come into submission to Queen Slay Hillary, right? They're furious right now. And then you have the other side of those Bernie Sanders supporters who are no longer Bernie Sanders supporters because they can't believe that he caved to Hillary, right? So on the one extreme, you have those people who say, oh, he shouldn't have, he should cave to Hillary. He should bow before Queen Hillary. They're pissed. And then the other ones who said, oh, Bernie Sanders did cave to Hillary. So that's just the way of the world, though. A lot of opinions. So far, I don't have anyone who thinks Bernie Sanders sold out. So I'm really interested in seeing someone who really feels like Bernie Sanders sold out, because technically you do realize he did not concede. The only thing he said he was going to do was he's going to help beat Donald Trump. That does translate into he's going to help Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump. But that does not mean he is folding. Again, I don't see it as a loss. I see a lot of people, man. I see a lot of people moaning on Twitter. I want some of you guys to call in because I want to see what you say. I want to see what you think. I want to hear you vocalize why you feel that this is a cop-out when indeed it gives you the biggest and the strongest opportunity. See, I think this is the difference. I noticed the difference in the flavor and character of Bernie Sanders supporters along this line. Some people were Bernie Sanders supporters so fervently because they hated Hillary Clinton so much. And that group of people are probably extremely pissed off right now. Then you have the rest of us who are Bernie Sanders supporters because we believed in the progressive movement. And those of us who believe in the progressive movement, we see how the progressive movement can continue and be even stronger because of what Bernie Sanders did tonight. And I want to just give myself an applause, a clap, a round of applause for calling it. Didn't I tell you? I told you guys Tuesday. Go back to my show on Tuesday. It was just like a boom. It just dropped in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. He can do so much more if he doesn't surrender, if he doesn't turn over his list and his fundraising capacity, and he keeps the momentum without dropping a beat and keeps going. He may not get rallies with 20,000 people in them anymore, but he'll get 2,000 people who will go and knock on doors in that same city for a particular issue. That 2,000 people knocking on doors is far more effective than 20,000 people in a rally who don't go out and knock on doors. It's so funny when people say Bernie needs to sign up with the Green Party. He needs to run with the Green Party. And then they say, because if he runs with the Democratic Party, then he's going to lose his power. But if he runs with the Green Party, somehow that's going to make him pure or more powerful and pure. But now Bernie Sanders can quite literally step back and say, this is a movement. Let's look at all of us. Which candidate is going to do the right thing for our movement? If it's the Green Party, then we throw our weight behind the Green Party. You see, I told you we are free agents now. If it's the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party actually does something and a candidate actually represents the best values out of the candidates running, then we'll throw our weight behind that candidate. If there's a Republican, matter of fact, Greg, what is Greg's last name from like North Carolina? T. Greg Doucette. Shout out to T. Greg Doucette on Twitter at Greg_Doucette. Reading his platform on criminal justice reform, he's a Republican in Durham, North Carolina. But I would throw my vote behind someone like him because of where he stands on criminal justice reform, where he stands on Black Lives Matter and some of the key things that he stands for. He may be a Republican, but on issues that are most important to me, he's progressive. So being free agents from a political system says that we have the right to throw our political weight behind whichever candidate is going to bring a progressive platform. And the candidates that don't, we have the right to primary them because we don't have loyalty to the Green Party, to the Libertarian Party, the Democratic Party, or the Republican National Committee. None of the above. If you're upset about it, please call in. I want to talk to you. Maybe you have a different way of seeing it. I like this comment. We're talking about some of the Democrats that need to be primaried in the chat room that said we need to primary Democrats like those who voted for the trans bathroom bill in North Carolina. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't ask me to unite blue to vote for Democrats that have been voting for things that are detrimental to my community or to the community of those for which I consider myself an ally, right? No, there's 11 Democrats, 13, I believe it's 11 or 13 Democrats in North Carolina who need to be primaried and need to be put out. And there's examples of that, not just people who make these atrocious votes, but there are also people who sit on their seat for 30 years, 40 years and do nothing for their local. Listen, I know candidates right now who are itching for the chance to run for office and to try to do something for their district, the district for which they want to represent. And they are frozen stiff and scared of running because of an establishment Democrat who's squatting. We don't have time for politicians to squat anymore. You can't just sit on a seat and expect everyone to fall in line with you because you're a Democrat. Even if you're a black Democrat. Certain districts, you know what I'm talking about, districts in Florida.